School UPK under Commanding General Yohana. You understand? We're gonna go into some precepts real quick to help our brothers and sisters wake up to the truth of the Bible. You understand? So right now, until the Walker Bar gets here, we're gonna go over Christ and who Christ was and his and what type of brother he was. You understand? And while we read this, we're gonna understand the spirit that we have to put inside of us today, seeing what's to come, which is World War III. You understand? So we're going to go to Mark chapter 7 and verse 25. That's where we're going to go, all right?
Mark chapter 7 and verse 25. For a certain woman whose young daughter had an unclean spirit.
So this woman, a certain woman, had a daughter with an unclean spirit. What is an unclean spirit in the Bible? An unclean spirit in the Bible is a demon, and they exist today. What are some examples of an unclean spirit? Cigarette addiction. That's a spirit in you that is unclean. You understand? What else is another one that's common amongst blacks, Hispanics, and American Indians? You were going to say one, Shadow Rock?
Yeah. The masculine spirit in a sister or Hispanic sister, when she goes up against her man and try to call all the shots and try to tell him what to do and be controlling.
Right. That's also an unclean spirit. You understand? Shadow Rock said a woman with the masculine spirit, which is not a spirit of the Most High. That spirit is passed through our oppressor, giving our woman a masculine spirit, making her think that she doesn't have to submit to a man, that she's independent, that she can go on without a man. That's an unclean spirit. You understand? A man being feminine, which is being pushed heavy in America, because America wants God's people, the men, to be soft and effeminate, so we won't stand for the truth and fight against our oppressor and save our people. So this sister had an unclean spirit. An example would be schizophrenia. You understand? This sister had a spirit on her that was making her kill herself. When you read above, that's the type of spirit she had. She was suicidal. You understand? So Christ is walking, and by this time, everybody knows about Christ doing miracles. So people know that Christ is doing miracles. They're hearing about his miracles. So this woman heard about Christ, and she ran to him and said, I'm not going to skip ahead. You can just skip that out. You go ahead and come in here. You can skip that, Shadow Rock. Right? So this woman, they didn't heard about Christ and the work that he's doing through the power of the Most High. Now let's see what happened. So this certain woman came to him. Let's keep reading.
Whose young daughter had an unclean spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Heard of him.
She heard of him. She heard about what he was doing. Keep going.
And came and fell at his feet.
And she came. Just imagine Christ. Imagine a so-called black man today with 12 brothers, rolling with 12 brothers, strong and masculine as he can be and his brothers can be. You understand? And this woman comes to him and falls to his feet. Falls down to his feet with her face towards the earth. Keep going.
Verse 26. The woman was a Greek.
The woman was a what?
A Greek.
A Greek. This was a so-called white woman that came to Christ and bowed down to Christ. Now, who was ruling in this time in Jerusalem? The Romans. You understand? Keep going.
A Syrophoenician by nation.
Mm-hmm.
And she besought him.
And she begged Christ. She's begging him. Why? Because her daughter has a demon. Her daughter's suicidal. So she's crying. She's begging Christ. Keep going.
That he would cast forth the devil out of her daughter.
That Christ would heal her daughter. And she knew he could do it because of what she was hearing about Christ. Keep going up.
Verse 27. But Yahushua said unto her, let the children first be filled.
Christ said, first let the children be filled. You understand? Who is the children? The people that he came for. You go to Matthew 15 and 24, the same exact story is written in Matthew 15 and 24. And he says, I come not but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Christ told her this. You understand? It's just different accounts. So the wording or the account is different, but it's the same story. You understand? Christ wasn't here for everybody. Christ was here for his people. So he told her, it's not meat. Keep going.
For it is not meat.
It is not good. Go ahead.
To take the children's bread.
To take the bread that belongs to the Jews, to my people, the gospel, right? Go ahead.
And to cast it unto the dogs.
And to cast it to who?
The dogs.
To who?
The dogs.
Man, Christ called this white woman a dog. Now you got to picture it. Christ is walking. Christ knows he can heal through the power of the Most High. And this woman comes and begs, and this woman comes, bows down to his feet, is begging him to heal her daughter. And he tells her, it's not good for me to take what belongs to the children and to give it to dogs. That's who Christ was, man. That's the real Christ, whose real name is Yahawashi. Yahawashi in the Hebrew meaning deliverer, savior. That's what he told. That's what he said to this woman. He didn't say, oh, I'm going to help you. Let me help you. Where is she? Nah, he said, it's not good. He said the opposite. Keep going, Doc.
Verse 28. And she answered and said unto him.
And when he told her, it's not good for me to help dogs, or it's not meat to give the children's bread to dogs, what was her response?
Yes, Lord. Yet the dogs under the table.
She said, yes, Lord. Now, mind you, this is a white woman, and her people are in rulership the same way white people are in rulership today, and the same way we are on the streets every Saturday making white people bow down and kiss our boots because they feel ashamed of what their forefathers did to our forefathers. And they do it. You understand? And it happened with Christ. So people want to say that we're wrong, we're evil. It's not justice that white people bow down and kiss our boots. So-called white people, right? Caucasians, whatever, you know, the correct term for them. When it's not wrong, it's righteous. You understand? People are acting like we're asking them to let us whip their backs. Let us hurt you how you hurt our forefathers. No. You understand? They're the ones who understand what we're saying. They know the history of what their forefathers did, and they want to show that they are ashamed of the actions of their forefathers because they know that it's wrong. They know that their forefathers have not paid for it, and that they benefit from their crimes. You understand? And this is who Christ was. We are like Christ. Why are we the way we are? Because we really are like our King Yahawashi. You understand? Keep going up.
Yet the dogs.
She said, yes, Lord. She said, yes, Adawan. Lord means master. She said, yes, I am a dog. Keep going.
Yet the dogs under the table eat of the children's crumbs.
She said, yes, I'm a dog. You're right. But even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from the table. You understand? Meaning what? Keep going. Keep going.
Verse 29. And he said unto her, for this saying.
And what did Christ say? Christ said, for this saying. Go ahead.
Go thy way.
Go thy way. I mean, get out of here. Go ahead.
The devil is gone out of thy daughter.
I heard you. I healed your daughter. Why did Christ say this? Not because he came for everybody. Go ahead, Natazak. Not because he came for everybody, but why? Go ahead, Shadow Rock.
That's because she acknowledged that he was, the deliverer. She acknowledged that he was Christ.
Okay, that's true, but bring it home.
That he was the king of the Jews.
That's true, but bring it home.
And then she acknowledged herself being a dog.
Goddamn right, man. Give the Lord a hand, man. She acknowledged that she was a dog. And her argument was just when she said, yes, I am a dog, but the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from the table. Christ was like, you know what, you're right. Here's a crumb. Here, I'm going to heal your daughter. But that doesn't mean that Christ came for everybody. He didn't say, you know what, you're not a dog. He said, you know what, you're right. You're a dog. Here, Here's some little crumbs. I help you out. It's not a big deal. That's how we are. Why people want to come up to us and bow down so that they can so that they might have an opportunity. So that they might have an opportunity. Hey, can you charge this laptop for me? Connect the charge for me. To get some mercy when Christ comes back. It's not guaranteed, but they're showing that they understand the crimes of their forefathers. You understand? Now, why is this important? Because this is the same spirit that we need to have in us as the Israelites, the people who Christ came to save. Somebody let me get 2 Ezra 6:54. You understand? Because this is who Christ really was. Christ wasn't the white man that we've been taught to see as Christ in religion. That he loves everybody. That he loves you no matter what. That's not how Christ was, man. Don't get me wrong. Christ loves his people, but not everybody. You understand? Christ loves his people, and that's how we got to be. That's how we got to be. We got to love our people. You understand? And care for our people how Christ cared about his people. And deny these other nations. Deny the other nations joining with them, thinking that we can integrate with them. Our so-called black brothers saw what happened with Black Wall Street. You had Martin Luther King, who people thought he was great. People still think that he's great, that he was a great black leader when he wasn't. Black people were better separated from white people. And because of Martin Luther King and his desire to want to be one with white people, guess what? It fired back. Black people started getting lynched. Black people started getting beat on the street, sprayed with water hose. The ambulance water hose, getting tortured, getting burned alive. Why? Because of Martin Luther King and his lust to be with the nation that's not his. You understand? We were better off. Why would you want to share a sink or a water or be in a restaurant with the people that Christ called dogs? You understand? And that's what we do in the UPK. We're taking away the witchcraft in your heads. And what's that witchcraft? Religion. Thinking that white people love you. Thinking that you got to love the people who hurt you. When that's not even in the Bible, man. You understand? Let's go deeper. Let me get that precept, Art.
2 Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest, Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all.
Now, this is Ezra, a prophet of the Most High. He said, what'd he say?
Thou madest, Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all.
So this is Ezra speaking to an angel of the Most High, and he's saying we all come from Adam, which is true, right? Keep going.
And the people also whom thou hast chosen.
And the people also whom thou hast chosen come from Adam. So what does this tell us here? Once again, God has a chosen people. He has a people separated from other people. And those are the people that Christ came to save. It's the same people, the Israelites. Keep going up.
Verse 55. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes.
Thou madest the world. He's like, I'm saying all this because you made the world for us so that we could rule the world. Like Commander General Yohana was bringing out in his class. He said, if God made God made the world, he made the earth and the planets. So why would he not want his chosen people to rule the earth? If he made the earth, why would he want his people at the bottom? You understand? He wants us to be ruling the earth. You understand? And how do we get there? First, we got to separate from religion. You understand? How do you separate from religion? From sitting down, watching these classes, humbling yourself. You understand? Not letting Satan get in your head and tell you, man, they crazy. Instead, you should just listen. Listen. Understand. You 12, sir? What you talking about? I'm just going into 2 Ezra, sir, just showing how, the Lord don't love these other nations. Now we're gonna pass the class to Officer to the Walker Park.
Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. Hey, can we get some frankincense and myrrh burning. Said you was going over Second Ezra's, what, 6 and 56,
50. I was about to get it 55, sir.
55.
Colonel concert.
Read it from the top. What the brother was bringing out, from what I heard, talked about Martin Luther King wanting to join with the other nations, and us coming together when that was never the case. That the Lord never wanted us to come together with anybody. You understand? He wanted us to be separate. Read it from the top again.
Second Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all.
Of him we come we all, because a lot of times what you'll hear, especially when they find out that you're an Israelite, what you'll hear, they'll ask the question, well, don't we all come from Adam? Like, aren't we all God's children? That's a main argument whenever we out on the streets and people come up and say, well, wait a minute, aren't we all humans? Don't we all come from Adam? Wouldn't you agree with that? And that's the point people try to make. Go ahead, Shadow Rock.
And that comes out of the church. I'm a child of God.
Right.
You know, they always say, they quick to say, I'm a child of God. I'm a child of God.
Right.
You know, that comes from the Christian church. That's they saying.
Exactly.
When the Lord has actually chosen a people, a certain people, He picks and chooses.
Right. And so we think, and so the way the white man, his society moves is that we all human, and he's all about diversity. He's all about inclusion. He's all about bringing everybody together, whether it be in schools, whether it be at your work, at your job. He's about, all nations coming together, just like ancient Babylon. So we have this programming in our mind that, listen, we all bleed red. Like, what do you guys talk? You guys is talking hate, because we all bleed red. We should, we all human. God created us all, Adam and Eve, right? Go ahead, Shadow Rock.
And it's also, they call America the great melting pot.
Oh yeah, I say this all the time. They call America the great melting pot, but black people are the only ones that's getting burnt. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we in the great melting pot. We the only one that's getting scorched and burnt. Meaning we the only ones that are not benefiting from being in this great melting pot. We the only ones that are being, killed by the police in this great melting pot. You know what I mean? The last hired and the first fired. We're the ones that's suffering at the bottom of the melting pot. We closer to the heat. So it's a melting pot where all of these people, all of these nations supposed to come together and be prosperous and be great. But we the only ones that's not being great. We the only ones, like I said, is getting burnt in the melting pot. You know what I'm saying? Let me see real quick. Where we at on that?
We had verse 54 at the bottom.
Okay. Go ahead and read it.
Of him come we all.
So we all come. Everybody comes from Adam. Everybody comes from that lineage, that creation. Go ahead.
And the people also whom thou hast chosen.
And the people also whom thou hast chosen. So everybody comes from Adam, but the Lord has a chosen people that he chose out of Adam, right? Just like how we say, like, you got things in your closet that you choose above the other clothing in your closet, right? Keep reading.
Verse 55. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sake.
The Lord made what for our sakes?
The world for our sake.
The Lord made the world for our sakes. And I know that's a hard thing to think about, or just to imagine in your head, being black and Hispanic and being a second-class citizen, that everything that you see was created for our sakes, right? Because we look at ourselves with low self-esteem and as though we are less important in this earth, right? But the God of Israel created everyone and chose us above all people, right? Go ahead, Shadow Rock. Where we at? What are we live on? Salaki. We're on YouTube. Go ahead, Shadow Rock.
Okay, I just got a messenger from this female, and I don't know where the hell she came out of, by the way. I don't know. She wasn't a friend of mine or nothing. She said, what's going to become of a Jewish and white girls? You know, you Israelites, what do y'all think about that? I had to give it a response. I said, slavery and death is going to become of y'all.
Right.
You know, slavery and death, period. You know?
Yeah. So when white people say, you know, a lot of times they just say, you know what, I might as well just keep doing what I'm doing then, since I'm bound for slavery. I should just go tear up and you know, party and, you know, and that's what they should. But if a white person is to ask you, you know, do you hate white people, or do you want to kill white people? And we always refer to the Most High. We refer to the things that the Most High wants to do to the children of Esau, what he's going to do to the children of Esau. We also refer to the fact that we hate what has happened to our people, right? We hate the crimes committed against our people, right? So why would you say this? This is the thing. Would you get mad at the Jewish man for hating the Germans? I think today Jewish don't even buy German cars, right? They won't even buy German products. Straight up boycott from getting anything from Germans. And when they find a Nazi that's in a wheelchair with an oxygen tank and he's 99 years old, they bring him to court and prosecute him. You know, but they don't. They are they supposed to love them? Like, if you can understand the hatred that the so-called Jews have against the Nazis, then why can't you understand the righteous indignation we have against the so-called white man? You understand? Go ahead.
And also, there's a lot of red-blooded Americans, you know, like, you know, your rednecks. They will not buy Japanese cars, Chinese cars.
Oh yeah.
You know, they won't buy no.
It's USA, right? It's USA or nothing. Made in the USA. They don't want products from China. Meaning, but China is making all the electronics and everything, but they'll go out their way to get something only made in the USA, right? And with the cars. And like, I'm not getting no damn Honda. I'm getting me a Chevy. I'm getting me a Ford. You know what I'm saying? What was the acronym they used to say for Ford? Found on road dead. They used to have this thing about Ford, like Ford was bad engines. Like they found on road dead. Like it's gonna break down on you. Go ahead, like.
They call them rice cars.
With the Fords?
Asian
Asian cars.
They call them rice cars.
Good night,
And
the
they
white
got
man.
something to also do with Vietnam, you know.
Right.
When they came back from Vietnam and all of that, you know, that's where some of that sprung from.
That's where it came from, right?
About Chevy in a minute.
Is anything else on that?
Verse 56. As for the other people, which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing.
Well, listen clear to this, because this says, as for the other people. So he had those that he chose. Then it said, for the other people that also come from Adam. Go ahead.
Thou hast said that they are nothing.
That they are what?
Nothing.
They are nothing. Now I know this might just blow your head up to think that the Lord would say that his creation is nothing, and that maybe people were just made just for the benefit of another people. But the Lord is the Lord. He is the creator, and he does what he does. If somebody can pull what the Lord said in Romans 9:13, after saying that you know that Jacob I love, Esau I've hated, is there unrighteousness with God then? See, the Lord can do what he want to do. He created us. Just like how you can do whatever you want to do with your possessions and the thing that you that you own, the Lord created everything, and he has a special right to choose what he loves out of his creation. Go ahead, Doc.
Come on, sir. This is the book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated.
See, Jacob is the father. If you're listening in and you don't know, Jacob is the forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel, God's chosen people, who today are Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans scattered across the four corners of the earth. And Esau is the forefather or the progenitor of the so-called white race. If you could read that one more time.
Sir. The book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated.
The Lord says that he loved Jacob, but Esau he has hated. Now, Christians say that there is no hate in the Bible. God is all love. Like God is, everything that you see, in the cartoons with the rainbow and the sunflowers, he's all love, he's all goodness. You know what I mean? He has no there is no bad emotion with God. Everything is good, right? But right here we just read, Shalom sis, right here we just read that the Most High does hate. And think about this. Why would the Most High not hate or have the same emotions that we have if he created us? He's capable of the same emotions. The Bible in Exodus 15:3 says the Lord is a man of war. You know what I mean? He's not some effeminate a Woodstock looking white man with long hair. You know what I mean? That you think is all about love and getting high and hugging everybody. That's not the Most High. The Most High is a military top general. You understand? The Most High, it runs the heaven like that. You know what I mean? And you see all these evil things that happen in the earth and all of these judgments that come upon people on a daily basis. That if that was an effeminate man, or even like some people like to say, God is a woman, like we know that wouldn't be happening every day. It wouldn't be the violence and the things that we see in the earth every day. You know what I mean? If it was anything other than that, So where we at? Hey, Shalom.
Verse 14, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
The book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 14. What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with God?
So, like when we was reading earlier, he has a special people that he chose, and the other people are less than nothing. They are like nothing to the Most High. And now we're here where it says that he loved Jacob, but he hated Esau. And a lot of people would be like, that's not right. That, in your mind, in the human mind, in the way we think, that's not right. That's mean. You know what I mean? Read it again. Sorry for that particular precept, which you just read.
Book of Romans chapter 9, verse 14. What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with God?
So is God unrighteous because he says he loves one people and he hates another people? Is he unrighteous because he created everything, but he chose a specific people that he loved more than everybody? And he said all these other nations are nothing. Like those nations that I was looking at, I was on social media today, and I seen a lot of Black and Hispanic people praying for the American soldiers going over there to fight in Russia, praying for the world, praying for the other nations, the same people that we're reading about that the Lord says is nothing, less than nothing, right? Go ahead, Shadrach. Yeah, we're still there. We're still there. Go ahead. Go ahead, Shadrach. We can drop that. We're gonna go to Shadrach. I made the point on that.
They are nothing but be unto spittle.
But be unto spittle. The Lord said they are nothing but be unto spittle. Spittle is like when you talking and like a little bit of spit or saliva come out of your mouth. A little speck flies out of your mouth. He said they be unto spittle. That's what the Lord compares these other nations to and how he looks at them, right? And that means that's nothing. Like it's where's the other one? We have there's one in Isaiah. It might be Isaiah 40, where the Lord talks about the other nations being like a drop out of a bucket. The drop of a bucket? Are you sure? In Isaiah, I want the one in Isaiah where it talks about they be like it's like a drop of a bucket and they count it as nothing. Something to that nature. Go ahead.
The bucket one is in Ezra, and then the one in Isaiah is talking about he counts them as the dust on a balance.
On the balance, right. That's what I want.
I think you're looking. Oh, sorry.
So you want me to continue with the rest of this verse?
Is that it on it? Or is more on it?
No, a little more on it.
Okay, go ahead.
And has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel.
Okay. That's what I was looking for, but I got them the two mixed up. So like you carrying a bucket of water and a drop pops out of the bucket and lands on the floor. You're not gonna go and try to get that drop to put back in. You don't care about it. That's what the scripture is saying. He don't care about these other nations like that. Go ahead. I just
So like, sir, did you? I think it was Isaiah 40:15. Is that the one you
that
wanted?
I think that might be it. That might be it.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 40, verse 15. Behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket.
There we go again. The Lord compares these other nations to a drop of a bucket. Some water splash out of a bucket. You got some water. You trying to, okay, let's see. Let give me a situation. Okay, I'm trying to put out a fire. I got a bucket of water and I'm going in, and that splash that lands, I don't care about that. I'm not stopping to go get that. You know what I mean? That's how the Most High looks at these other nations. Like, he doesn't care. They're a drop of a bucket, right? Keep going.
Come, sir. And are counted as the small dust of the balance.
And counted as the small dust of the balance. Some of y'all here I don't know if y'all old enough, but I know Shadrach is you ever heard of a triple beam? And you got the scales where they used to you weigh and it's like this. You got some crumbs, you got some little dust. You know what I'm saying? That's what he considers these other nations. They're like the little dust that's left over after you done weighed whatever you weighing. You don't care about that. He's like, just blow it away. It's nothing to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's how the Lord feels about these other nations. Go ahead, on.
And even if you drop, you splash on that water, set that bucket down for a little while, and you turn it upside down, there's gonna be a few drops gonna come out of there.
Right. Left
Right?
over.
After you just splashed all that water over there.
That's deep. And the Lord don't give a damn about the other nations. And we have to get that through our head. Like, we're so brainwashed that we really are praying for what's happening. Now, I know the news has gotten, Black and Hispanic people's attention, but why not pray for your people? Why don't you pray for Blacks and Hispanics? Because they catching all the hell, We looking at our oppressor and feeling bad and feeling sorry for what they got to go through, but we don't feel sorry for what we go through on a daily basis. We don't have that capacity of compassion to be like, damn, like, let me just type this. It has to be something going on in the earth for us to feel compassion. And usually what's going on in earth has to deal with our oppressor. And we feel sorry for them when we see them and their families, but we don't feel sorry for the hundreds of thousands of Black women missing. We don't feel sorry for the Native American women missing off the reservations. We don't feel sorry for all of the brothers and sisters dying from gun violence, whether it be in America or it be in in central Mexico. We don't feel sorry. We don't have this move of compassion to say, oh, let's make this a hashtag. You know what I mean? Go ahead. Salaki, you had your hand up in the back? Go ahead.
I just want to make a statement, sir, like a comment, just to further prove your point.
Mm-hmm.
Because when the so-called Judites would say Black Lives Matter,
Right.
they turn around and said all lives matter.
Right.
Even though they're not dying like we are, they turn around and say, "Look, man, all lives matter."
Right.
And then we believed it, brothers believe that. That's true.
All lives matter. Yeah.
And then that just shows like it's backing up what you're saying.
Yeah, so they turn it on. Like, we're full of compassion and we're full of of love for the other nations, and we don't give that to one another. What you gonna say, Atizan?
Slightly, sir. If I may, I was gonna make a comment also. I saw on the news, like, it was, like the news after news break, it was like pop up with something that's been going on. So I looked at it real quick and I seen that on the Native Indian reservations, there's actually been an increase of missing Native Indian women on those reservations, which have been going on for ages now, but now it's gotten even worse. So now, but like, nobody's talking about that. Like, like, just kind of adding to what you and Priest Mouse War said. We're so worried about everybody else's problems, but we're not worried about our problems. Even with Slack at Super Bowl, I was talking with Priest Mouse Kazak Yad,
Mm-hmm.
And I actually didn't even know until they told me. It's a correct, brothers and sisters. You know, the NFL hired ICE to go out there.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, and I'm just like, man, you know, it seemed like everybody cared for like, well, I ain't gonna say everybody, but some people cared for a day. But then once the
Right.
Super Bowl was over, nobody's talking about it.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, it's the headlines and the hashtags that get our attention. And like, like when remember that was a couple years ago, something was happening in France. I think it might have been an earthquake or something. And then on Facebook they put a France, a French flag, and it said like pray for France. This was some years ago, but I noticed like black people was literally changing their profiles to this profile. Pray for France. You know what I'm saying? No, pray for your goddamn self. Pray for your people. You know what I mean? We look at our people with I don't know, like we just don't have the compassion that the Lord instilled in our forefathers for one another. But we turn around and we just, are so concerned with what's going on with our oppressor. And that you'll see that even in when you look at the slave narratives. So you had a lot of slaves that actually cared for what was going on. If master was sick, they was worried. They was praying for the master. They was upset and until things got back right with their master. So you actually had people that were conditioned that way, and we're still conditioned that way to actually care. And like the brother brought out which was heavy, where we said where black people said Black Lives Matter, then they said no, it's all lives matter. You know what I mean? They like y'all lives ain't better than ours, but black people, like we were saying earlier, are the only ones getting burnt though, as far as like being in the great melting pot. Shada Rocker was saying, how they said that America is the melting pot. I said, yeah, it's the big melting pot, and black and Hispanic people are the only ones getting burnt though. We the only ones getting we at the bottom of the melting pot, right by the fire, taking all the brutality and taking all the negative things, and not reaping none of the good things. Go ahead,
Also, there was a 9-year-old boy who was back a little while ago. A 9-year-old boy was playing in the parking lot,
Mhm.
and a man went through the window and shot him in his arm.
I remember that. I don't remember where it happened at, but I do remember that. Yeah.
The little boy's father was man, of course, upset, and nobody, no civil rights, nobody said anything about that. That just disappeared.
There's been so many things. The officer just got I think he just got off, or I can't remember what was the sentence, for shooting the brother that was with the autistic kid, and he had his hands up and he was on the ground, I believe, and the police still shot him while he had his hands up on the ground. And so this officer, I think he's got some kind of lenient sentence where it's like probation or something like that. Oscar Ward.
I was going to touch on what Shada Rock was saying. So that was actually in the same time when Asian lives was happening.
When that happened,
When that happened, Asian lives happened before that.
let's not get it confused also with the now I think this was in Texas where an Asian shot a little black boy in the arm. You're talking about the one you're talking about, I know about too, but this one is when the Asian told him to get off his line, and he shot at him and shot the. Luckily, he just hit the little boy. I think he's like 5 or 6. He just hit him in the arm. But it's been a war. Now we worried about the war, black and Hispanic people, as we should if you are in the truth, and you should be circumspect and watching. But we're so worried about a war, but we're not worried about the war that's been ongoing since we can remember, against black and Hispanic and Native Indians. It's been a war against us. You know what I mean? And we become used to the things that happen to us and don't think that that is a war. They're like the scriptures say that nation shall rise up against nation. Well, the so-called white man rising up against the Native American Indians and putting the black man in slavery and killing the Israelites is a act of war. That's two nations of people rising up against one another. It's not just about, you can't just look at it like Russia against China or Russia against Ukraine. The so-called white man against blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians is a nation rising up against another nation. We've been at war and we just don't realize it. Go ahead, Oscar Ward.
If I could say something else, like what you're saying, just to back it up, like even if America, we don't, even if America won the Third World War, which they not, because you know Christ will come back in the midst of that. But even if they did win, it's not going to change us. Even if we do fight in that war and help them win that war,
Right.
which we've done in the past with other wars, if they win, we still going to be oppressed.
Right.
We're still not going to get rights. They're not going to fix us.
Exactly. It's not going to be a win for us. It'll be our condition won't change. No more than like a black or Hispanic man being put into the White House. The hood will still be the same. You know what I mean? It won't be no significant change with us as God's chosen people. So any questions? Anything anybody want to bring out? Any topics? Let me see. I want to talk about I had a discussion about birthdays. I just want to go over birthdays real quick. So if somebody could give me where the Pharaoh I think it might be okay, the Pharaoh where the Pharaoh hung, was it the butler or the baker on his birthday? And her King Herodias where he cut John the Baptist's head off. If somebody else could just pull up the origin of birthdays. Which one you got? Just hold those scriptures because we're gonna get to those. Somebody pull up the origins of birthday. Just get a brief origin. Birthdays it is a heathen custom. If I can remember correctly, birthdays, the common birthday that we celebrate today, how people celebrate birthdays today comes from the Romans, right? And heathen kings used to do what we would call like what a lot of black and Hispanic people do today. They say, "Oh, it's my birthday. It's my birthday month." So they don't just celebrate on their birthday. They do it for like a whole week or the whole month. Y'all know how niggas is. They do it for they just they like, "Oh, it's my like sisters, girls, my birthday. We turning up for the whole month, my birthday month." And actually, heathen kings did that. They celebrated birthdays they celebrate their birthday every day of that month. Not only that, they would do things like execute people on their birthdays, cut the heads off and put the heads on stakes. You know what I mean? It would be something gruesome happening every day. You know what I mean? And birthdays is not a biblical custom. It's not an Israelite custom at all. So it's okay, like to keep know how old you are, because you're gonna have people like, hey, how old are you? How old are you now? Like, and then when it comes to like what is it social media, if you put your birthday in there, the correct one, people are gonna get a notification and they gonna hey, happy birthday, bro. Happy birthday, and you know what I mean, you're gonna get all of that. But for the most part, birthdays is not a custom of God's chosen people. The Bible is against birthdays. It is a heathen custom. So first, before we even get into it, go ahead. Achizan.
Oh, sir. So I just typed in origins of birthdays. So
Uh-huh.
just like a brief description of it.
Okay, go ahead and
So,
read.
like you brought up earlier, sir, says that the Romans were among the first people to celebrate birthdays as we know them. And it also says it is assumed that the Greeks adopted the Egyptian traditions of celebrating the birth of a god. And Slaki, if I may, I know also that was like the main practice of birthdays. Like, you would worship yourself as
Right.
God.
Well, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. It's somebody. So what the brother brought out is basically what I had said about the origins of birthday. Went into the Greek and Egyptian culture, Roman culture. None of these are Hebrew Israelites. None of these are God's chosen people. So why today in America, Black and Hispanic people celebrating birthdays, right? It's very simple, because you were conquered by your oppressor and you follow his ways and his philosophies and ideology. It's just that simple. We are the second class citizens of this nation and of this establishment of America, and therefore we follow all of those things. A lot of the things that we follow, we learned while we were being oppressed. We learned while we was Native Americans learned while they was in the boarding schools. They learned European culture. We learned while we was in slavery. We learned European culture. The Hispanics learned this in the missions, European culture. Learned it after being destroyed and after being, beat down to a pulp and crushed to a powder as a people. Then we took on their ways. We took on the ways of happy birthday. You know what I mean? Which a lot of people today, Black and Hispanic people, if somebody don't acknowledge you or acknowledge your birthday, you'll have a goddamn fit. You know what I mean? It's all bad. It's all bad when it comes to us, like, as far as what we're going to get into about what the brother was bringing up, what Atizam spoke on, is about it being self-worship. You're making yourself an idol. If somebody could get me what Anton Levy said. This is the founder of the Satanic Church of Satanic Church, right? He's the founder, and get what he said about Anton. So it's Anton Levy. What he said about birthdays being the highest form, that one of the highest holidays for people who worship Satan. And I think he gave his reasons also. Basically, what Itazam said about it, you becoming an idol yourself, and it's like self worship. Okay, give it to me.
The Satanic Bible and birthdays, the idolatry of self-esteem, the highest of Satan's holidays or holiday.
It said what? Say that again. The idolatry.
The Satanic Bible and birthdays, the idolatry of self-esteem, the idolatry of self-esteem, the highest of Satan's holy days.
The highest of Satan's holy days. The idolatry of self-esteem, of you esteeming yourself. Because when you're in that mind, in that spirit, like I said, if somebody doesn't even acknowledge, if your mother doesn't acknowledge that, oh, hey babe, today your birthday, you have a fit, you have a meltdown. Like, people in the world have meltdowns over these little things, over a birthday. You don't get the right gift, you don't get what you wanted, you have a meltdown. You understand? Go ahead, Sly. I didn't mean to stop you, but
There is an infinity of such commemoration among the wicked as recorded in the Satanic Bible by Anton LaVey, Book of Lucifer, The Enlightenment, Avon Books, 1969, Religious Holidays Regarding Birthdays. This is out of the book. The highest of all holidays in the Satanic religion is the date of one's own birthday. This is in direct contradiction to the holy of holy days of other religions, which defy a particular God who has been created in an anthropomorphic form of their own image, thereby showing that the ego is not really buried. The Satanist feels, why not really be honest, and if you are going to create a God in your image, why not create that God as yourself? Every man is a God if he chooses to recognize himself as one.
he said, why not create, not every, wait, go back one sentence.
The Satanist feels, why not be honest, and if you are going to create a God in your image, why not create that God as yourself?
Why not create God as yourself? Be honest with yourself. Go ahead.
Every man is a God if he chooses to recognize himself as one. So the Satanist celebrates his own birthday as the most important holiday of the year.
So the Satanist celebrates his own birthday as the most important holiday of the year. You could drop it right there. Basically, what it's showing you is that it's you become the idol. It's like you're worshiping yourself on your birthday. Now, these practices, as we just read, and we didn't have to go deep into it. We just Googled it, but I'm sure brothers have made classes where they go deeper into, the breakdown. but the point is that these things didn't come from God's chosen people. These things came from outside of the law, statute, commandments, outside of the Bible. It came from heathen and strange nations, right? Their practices, their ways of life, their ways of worshiping, their ways of love, idol worshiping themselves on this particular day, which we call a birthday today. Go ahead, Shadow Ryan.
I'm just going to capitalize on the last part of this or whatever. famous Satanist Anton Stanzalidi's last deathbed words were, "Oh my, oh my, what have I done? There's something very wrong here. There's something very wrong. There's something very wrong." So he knew he did something wrong.
Right.
He knew it.
Right. Maybe he's seen a legion of black men standing around him, and he thought he was gonna see something else. Maybe he's seen black angels and thought he was gonna see something else. Right. Salakia. Well, I lost my train of thought. So it's idol worship, basically. That's what it is. And you're worshiping yourself. You make yourself a god on that day. And like I was just bringing out earlier, is that let's just be real. If it wasn't for social media and you telling people, nobody would remember your birthday any damn way. You know what I mean? A lot of times, your mom don't remember oh, baby, it's your birthday? I forgot. It was yesterday. They wouldn't, so average people ain't going to remember your birthday anyway, unless you tell them or social media tells them, right? And so it wasn't a custom, and it's the way of the heathen. If somebody could get Jeremiah 10:1, and we can solidify it with what the scriptures say, what the Bible say. Nobody in the scriptures, none of the righteous great men in the scriptures celebrated birthdays. You know what I mean? And if you're gonna say, like some people will say, well, the wise man brought gifts to Christ, and I was like, well, that's more like you being born and you get gifts. That's not a birthday. That's more like what you call that thing? A baby shower. You know what I'm saying? That's more of that. You know what I mean? Which is lawful. You can have a baby shower. You know what I mean? But as far as us celebrating birthdays and saying, "Oh, I want to get the new Jordans, or I want to get the whatever for my birthday. I want to do this. I want to go on a trip. I want to, make it real big this year. We're gonna make it real big. I'm gonna rent out the showroom. You know what I'm saying? We trying to get Gucci Man to come through. Like, you know what I'm saying? But black and Hispanic people really be trying to do it big for their birthday. Like it's just the end all be all. Go ahead.
Concert. No, I was just gonna add, like what you just brought up, it just made me think of this. That's how the white man gets more money out of us anyway. Through these pagan holidays.
Oh yeah.
Because Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, and like you said, your birthday. They tell you, they put it in our heads that, if you love, let's say it's your mom's birthday. If you love your mom, then you're gonna, buy this for her, yada yada yada.
They have a whole industry, like a party industry. They got party stores, and they have the whole aisle for the cards for birthdays. Go ahead, sis.
I was gonna say, the Travis car, or we do the quinceañeras,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a whole industry.
That's
dedicated
big.
Just to quinceañeras. They do expos, they do all this stuff, and that's a huge market.
And it's so big. It's
thousands,
cultural, right?
We'll go into debt just to have a quinceañera.
Just to have it right and make everything perfect, huh? The sister was talking about the quinceañera, where it's just cultural. It's so big, you know what I mean? And they'll go broke to make everything perfect and right, you know what I mean? And have the best quinceañera. And is that when you turn a certain age or something? 15, right. Like a sweet 15, right? Yeah. Shout out, right. Go ahead.
I have a precept right here.
You got that precept?
Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 1. A good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth.
Get a brother a hand. That's a heavy precept. That's a heavy precept. And like the scripture is telling you that the day of someone's death is better than the day of birth. You celebrating the day you was born. You ain't did nothing. You ain't did nothing being born. You want to be congratulated for being born? How about you congratulate your father and your mother for being born? The Bible says that the day of death is better than the day of birth. Meaning, when somebody passed away, there's a life that you can look on that they done lived. And you can look at all the great accomplishments and look at all the things they did in their life. And then you can glory in that. That's what the Bible is saying, that the day of death is better than the day of birth. You ain't did nothing. You was just born. You were, okay, you was cute. You was a cute baby. Okay, all right. What okay. You know what I'm saying? You ain't struggled. You ain't put in no work. You ain't did anything great yet. You know what I mean? On that particular date. But when you die, you've lived a life, and then the people that know you, that love you, can come up and say, well, he had a full life, man. He did this, she did that, she accomplished this, she did so many great things. When she walked in the room, she lit up the whole room. That's something to be proud of. That's something where that's something to be memorial, to remember. You know what I mean? And like the scriptures say, the day of your death is better than the day of your birth. That's the Bible talking. For any Christian that's listening that ever doubted, like, oh, nah, y'all off. We ain't supposed to be celebrating holidays. We ain't supposed to be celebrating birthdays. The Bible is telling you right now, the day of birth means nothing, absolutely nothing. You was gonna say something, Shadrach?
Yeah, it's like, you haven't overcome your demons. You didn't do anything close to what Christ even did.
Right.
Christ went through suffering.
Right.
Moshe went through suffering. He went through humiliation.
Right.
He went through, fasting all them days and enduring things.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't done nothing, but you was born, like you said, oh yeah, you was cute, all right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You was a cute baby.
Cute baby.
You know what I'm saying? You was born with your finger in your thumb in your mouth. You was born with a smile on your face. You know what I mean? That means absolutely nothing to the Lord. And it was never a custom in Israel to celebrate birthdays. You know what I'm saying? With cakes and candles and all of that. You understand? Is that it on it? Who got Jeremiah?
I do, sir.
Okay, go ahead and
You
read
wanted
it.
Jeremiah 10 and 1.
Con. Start from. Hey, Shalom, Lahab.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, that was in verse 1, sir.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, keep going.
Oh, keep going?
Yeah,
Oh,
I just
sorry.
want you to start at verse 1.
Oh, come on. Verse 2. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen.
The Bible says to learn not the way of the heathen. We just went into some records. Well, we did a light research. We Googled it, and they tell you, like, I'm sure if you go in deep, it got some cold breakdowns of what the candles mean, what the round cake means. You know what I'm saying? But we did a light research to show you that birthdays come from heathens. Birthdays come from the Romans, the Grecians, and the Egyptians, right? And that they were not something that the people of the Most High did in the Bible. We didn't do that in the Bible, right? Keep going.
Come, sir. And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them.
You could drop that. And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. Don't worship the things that we see in the sky. Don't worship those things, because the heathens, they did that. They worship the moon, the stars, and the sun. The Egyptians worship the sun, right? What is it, Ra? Sun god? You know what I mean? I think in Islam, don't they got like a crescent moon or something like that? You know what I mean? The heathen worship these things. Go ahead, Shadrach.
Yeah, like you said, like it says in the Bible as well as you said, Armani, worshiping the sun, the stars, and the moon. That's that zodiac sign. And what is the zodiac sign based on? Your birthday.
Right.
It's based on your birthday.
Good night. Good night. Ecclesiastes 7, the day of one's. Yeah, the brother just pulled it. Shadrach just pulled it. Is there any more on that? Oh, I wanted the one with the Salakia. The examples of the birthdays in the Bible. So with the Pharaoh killing the butler, and then with King Herodias killing John the Baptist. So for people that want to see examples of birthdays, these are the only examples of birthdays in the Bible. and they're not good examples, right? Just to go further in and hit it home that we're not supposed to be celebrating birthdays. They come from heathens. Uh, anybody? Not to Zach. Is anybody in the any questions in the chat? Either one. Got any questions, sis? You good? Uh huh.
I got the one with John the Baptist.
Okay, go ahead and read that for me.
Okay. You want to start from verse 1? Can I get the context? You want to go straight to the.
No, we can get the context.
So,
I want it to be whatever you have to read to show that it was a birthday.
okay, come. All right, I'm going to start from verse 1.
Con.
It is Matthew 14:1. At that time, Herod the Tetrarch heard of the fame of Yahushua and said unto his servants, this is John the Baptist, he is risen from the dead, and therefore mighty works do show forth themselves in him. For Herod had laid hold on John, and bound him, and put him in prison for Herodias' sake, his brother Philip's wife. For John said unto him, it is not lawful for thee to have her. And when he would have put him to death, he feared the multitude, because they counted him as a prophet. But when Herod's birthday was kept, the daughter of Herodias danced before them, and pleased Herod. And whereupon he promised with an oath to give her whatsoever she would ask. And she being before instructed of her mother, said, give me here John the Baptist's head in a charger. And the king was sorry, nevertheless, for the oath's sake, and them which sat with them at meat, he commanded it to be given her.
So the king, to please his wife and her daughter, he killed John the Baptist on a birthday, right? That's the point. The point is that I want to bring home that nothing good happened on birthdays in the Bible. It was always something evil and wicked. And in history, this is something that heathens did when they celebrated their birthday. They would execute people, and they would, get a lot of fun and laughs out of it, and behead people, and then put the heads on the stake in front of the city. These are things that actually happen in history. If anybody has the one with the Egyptian,
I believe that's Genesis chapter 40.
I believe it might be within the story of Joseph, right? With Joseph it was a baker and a butler.
It's like this is in Genesis 40. It's Pharaoh. It's like I believe it's the butler or a baker.
It's both.
Concert.
It's both of them, but one of them I believe got hung that day. If I'm correct, both of them were in prison with Joseph, I believe.
This one talks about this.
Anybody got that?
I think it's 40.
You got it?
Start from the top,
Yeah, go ahead and start from the top.
Come. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 40, verse 1. And it came to pass after these things that the butler of the king of Egypt and his baker had offended their lord, the king of Egypt. And Pharaoh was wroth against two of his officers, against the chief of the butlers and against the chief of the bakers.
Mhm.
And he put them in ward in the house of the captain of the guard.
So the butler and the baker offended the Pharaoh. It don't say for what, right? It don't say. I don't think it don't say. But maybe that cake wasn't that good that day. Maybe that cake, maybe he slipped on a couple of ingredients. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the butler didn't put something up or clean up something. Whatever it could have been. It's the same thing as the white man with black people in slavery. Maybe you dropped the egg. You know what I'm saying? And the white man is pissed, and he gonna beat the hell out of you, tie you to a tree and beat the hell out of you. But it's the same idea as what I'm saying. Like, really for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Our oppressor like today, he does what he wants to do. A lot of times it's for nothing, you know what I mean? Just because he despises us so much. Go ahead, Aunt.
Sir. Let's see. Into the prison, the place where Joseph was bound. Verse 4. And the captain of the guard charged Joseph with them, and he served them. And they continued a season in war.
I think what you could do is skip down. I think they both inquired to Joseph of what would their fate be. They both want to know like what's going to happen to them when they get called up before the Pharaoh. But if you could just scan it and skip down to where on Pharaoh's birthday. Go ahead. You got it? 19.
The book of Genesis, chapter 40, verse 19. Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thy head from off thee, and shall hang thee on a tree, and all the birds shall eat thy flesh from of thee. And it came to pass the 3rd day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, that he made a feast unto all his servants, and he lifted up the head of the chief butler and of the chief baker among his servants. And he restored the chief butler unto his butlership again, and he gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand. But he hanged the chief baker, as Joseph has interpreted to them.
He did what?
But he hanged the chief baker.
He hanged the chief baker. So he restored the butler to his position and hanged the chief baker. The point is that these are the examples in the Bible where that you can pull from. Like if you wanted to find something about a birthday in the scriptures, these two examples that we just read are the only thing in the scriptures, because the Israelites didn't celebrate birthdays, right? We didn't celebrate birthdays. You got something not to say? We didn't celebrate birthdays at all, and it is a heathen custom and tradition that we follow today. And like we had brought out earlier, more common the birthday that we celebrate today, in the modern times comes from Rome, right? And we are a people that are like beat down to a pulp and just an open palette, ready to take on everything that our oppressor displays in front of us and thinks that like it's okay. Like we should follow them. We should do this because this makes us feel good. And what we also found out is that what it really does is make you worship yourself on that day. Make you idolize yourself on your birthday. A lot of bad things happen on birthdays. Black and Hispanics get killed on birthdays. Just recently, 4 people got killed in Inglewood. That was like a month ago. The party got shot up. It was a sister's birthday. They was posting it on social media. And I'm not saying that, celebrating birthdays, you're gonna get shot up. It's a multitude of things that could happen to you. But we see in the Black and Hispanic community that birthday parties, they really don't turn out good. Like even if for a brother in the world, you'll be smart, you'll be circumspect to be like, nah, I'm not gonna go to this house party. I'm not gonna go to this birthday party because something could pop off. But this is the judgment that the Lord sends when we're so in tune to following the ways of the heathen. We get those judgments, whether we celebrating birthdays, whether we celebrating Christmas, Thanksgiving. It be some real tragedies that be happening in the Black and Hispanic community. 4th of July. This past 4th of July in Chicago, I don't know how many people got shot. I think it was in the 50s or 60s. You know what I mean? So the Lord brings that judgment when we indulge in celebrating in following the ways of the heathens. Thank the Lord for Commanding General Yohana and the ISUPK that now there are men that can actually teach Black and Hispanic people to deter them and save them from that not ever happening to them. Because let's just be real. Everybody in this room celebrated birthdays or Christmas or whatever. We all did it at one point in time. You know what I mean? We all didn't understand that we didn't see anything wrong with it because, we were just like everybody else in the earth, everybody else in the world. But you know what I mean? Like, thank the Lord that we had an opportunity to see our wrongs and right our wrongs, and to do away with the heathenish customs that we celebrate as Black and Hispanic people in America. Um, so anybody got any questions? I'm gonna move on to another topic.
So like I did have one question, sir. I think it's First Corinthians. I gotta find it. I'll get back to you.
Go ahead, Malakma.
That's like the breakdown in Deuteronomy 20 chapter, verse.
Hey, not this, I'm gonna send you this screenshot. I want you to read it when you get a chance. Okay, hold 1 second. Where is it? Can somebody read it and and call it out? I think he said. I think he said Deuteronomy.
Deuteronomy 28:46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder.
Could you skip up a little bit?
Verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and the statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
All right. And what was your question on?
My question is, sir, like, can I use this to say that the curses in the book of Deuteronomy is how we identify who the Israelites are today?
Khan, can you use that to say that those curses is how we identify God's chosen people today? Yes, you can use that. And for that sign and wonder, it's just a sign. He said those curses will be upon you for a sign and a wonder. So you got to look at it like, damn, we are God's chosen people. All the nations know that we are God's chosen people, but yet we've fallen to such a low state. And it should be a sign to us, right? As we come back and we start to learn who we are, it's a sign. And even like, okay, even like Salakia, even like being in the world, when I don't know if it was other brothers, but when I was in the world, it was a sign to me was that Black and Hispanic people were great, but we wasn't that great. Meaning like we are the people I see that put in all the work, have all the talent, and make America move, but we're still at the bottom. So that was like a sign to like, what is it about us that why we're not up here and we're down here? And so being Israelites and being God chosen people and having a kingdom under King David and Solomon and didn't fall into such a low state, that's a sign and a wonder. Like, damn, what happened? Oh, those people over there in Israel today. Oh, that's the Jews. What about these Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians? What happened to them? You know what I mean? And those curses is on us for a sign and a wonder. So you wonder, why is it that only Black and Hispanic men get shot by the police? Why Africans don't get shot by the police? Why is it that Native American Indians are on the reservations and nobody else? Why is it that the tribe of Issachar is in immigration detention centers, but they're not the only immigrants? Why is it these specific people? A sign and a wonder, the curses. You know what I'm saying? I hope I explained that. Yondabar. Shadrach, you was gonna ask something?
I wanted to add something about the verse 43.
Okay.
The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high. You know, you looking at the Japanese when they came here, they would get $10,000 to start their businesses.
Right.
But we've been here already, but we can't get no loans and no startup loans for our business.
Exactly.
And then you got who those folks that were jumping on the planes trying to get over here just recently?
The
Afghanistan.
Ishmael. Right.
Right.
There was yet.
Now you look at them. We went to war and got Osama bin Laden, and we got all those other the bombers that came over here, the terrorists.
Yeah.
All that. How come they ain't getting shot in the street?
Right.
Why they getting really super profiled? Why did they go fall under stop and frisk?
Exactly. You would think that they would get profiled, more than us. You know what I mean? Being that they took down the World Trade Towers. You know what I mean? Like you would think so, but that goes back to the curses being upon us for a sign and a wonder. Like you brought out some good points, and you do ask the question, like, why is it that we can't get those things? Like when they brought them over here as refugees, from what I understand, they got Airbnbs and they got money, you know what I mean, to set them up here and in Europe. They brought them here and to Europe from Afghanistan. Go ahead.
On the news, whole communities got prepared to welcome them into the community. Did they welcome us into the community? Well, we got free from slavery.
Let me tell you something. When that caravan was coming to the border of Israelites, white people got their arms up. They got their arms together and they went out and protested. They didn't say like, "Oh, we're going to prepare a place for these refugees. They're fleeing from persecution from their government and all the corruption in the Venezuelan government and all of that." They didn't have no compassion. They was just like, "No, Trump needs to build the wall. He needs to get this done." And they were out there protesting. And then you have to ask yourself, like, what is the difference between us and them? The only difference is a sign and a wonder with God's chosen people. You know what I mean? That's the difference. You know what I mean? So it's not even physical, it's spiritual. It's right here in what we just read. It's spiritual. It's a prophecy that is upon us and that you can see it. We're talking about it right now. We can see the difference. We get treated differently. There is no open doors and no pantries and none of that, and people preparing their houses or I want to take some in. But when they did take some Israelites in, 1,200 children came up missing and they can't find them. Right. You understand what I'm saying? Right. The white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Right. You understand? You gonna say something else, Shot? Right?
You might say, well, we got this Russian-Ukrainian thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who the next immigrants gonna be? Them Ukrainian people.
Oh yeah. Oh, and they gonna have Airbnbs. They gonna be somewhere in Orange County in the hills, Anaheim Hills somewhere. They gonna set them up real. You gonna hear about them in Big Bear and in all the nice places. You know what I mean? And while when it comes to us, there's nothing open for us. There's no doors that are opening for us as a people that are under oppression. But you know what? What I also neglected to say. When those Israelites was coming over here, they're fleeing corruption, right? They're fleeing the corruption from the cartels and the corrupt government, but that was created by America. So you mad at them for coming over there and you created the monster through the Iran-Contra scandals. You created the cartels and all of that corruption and all of that, where the government is not instability. The United States government created that situation, and now they're mad at the people from running from that situation. And that's why the white man is the devil. He is the literal author. He's the author of all the confusion, right? That's who it is. He's the author of the confusion. And then he wants to come in and swoop in like the hero to save the day and say, "Oh no, he wants to save the day when he created the hell on earth." Right? Go ahead. It's you to why about you to why.
There's a book called All the Lies My Teacher Told Me, and it talks about textbooks, specifically history textbooks. Mm-hmm. These history textbooks put our oppressors as the hero.
Yeah.
In specific Woodrow Wilson, the president. Woodrow Wilson, they said he was a this and he was a that and he was a this. He was one of the biggest racists out there. And what he did was what you were saying. It struck a memory that he went to to Southern America, South America, and he took out the people over there and everything, and he put his policy in there. But who he put in charge of them were corrupt leaders. That's why they having problems now. Puerto Rico having problems,
Right.
and Dominica having problems with their leaders. They don't like their leaders because that whole pattern was started with Woodrow Wilson. He put them people in charge.
So Woodrow Wilson put in corrupt leaders, and so like anything, you can't make something straight that is crooked from the gate. You can't make it. The white man is crooked, so it's nothing that we can do, physically or carnally, that can straighten the white man out. It's going to take the Most High to straighten the white man in his wickedness out, right? Because he made him crooked. You had something, sis?
Slocky, if I may, I remember being in a political science class in college, learning that the United States sends a certain amount of money every year to fund these third world countries, and what what they give this money, these funds to these presidents, and instead of the presidents funding communities to make them better, they end up buying yachts and nice cars, nice homes, and they end up funding the corruption within their own countries. But
Good night.
there's a certain amount of money that the United States gives out to these countries to support and help these communities. It's just it's not being administered the way it should be.
Mm-hmm. That's heavy. That's heavy. Not as you got that. So this is I don't know. I can't remember if I went over this in the brotherhood class, but I don't think I was able to get to it. But this is a quote from a brother named Jay Morrison. He's like a mogul, real estate mogul, show you how to buy land and all of that type of stuff, right? So you can go ahead and read that quote.
Come. From Jay Morris. Imagine if every man who had a baby mama turned her into a wife and was present in the household to provide fatherly love and instructions to his children. The hood wouldn't be the hood, it would be a neighborhood. Our communities are missing real men, period.
So of course this was a knock again against black men, but he said hypothetically, imagine if every man that had a baby mama married her and he was in the house. And we know the scripture to take you take a strong man out of the house, you bind a strong man up, and basically that the household will be destroyed and fall. So I wanted to like basically dissect that, and it's not that easy, clear and cut with black and Hispanics. Like when people like this say things like this, you have to look. You can't look at the problem. You got to look at the cause. You got to go to the root of the problem of why is it like that today. That's to me. That's the whole problem with society today when it comes to how society looks at black and Hispanic people. They don't want to look at the beginning. They don't want to look at what got us to this point. They'll look at Chirac. They'll say, "Oh, black on black crime, the cartels, MS-13." They'll look at all of that, but they won't look at what got it like that. You know what I mean? And we know the so-called white man is the one who put everybody in the position that they are in today. Basically, I have a book. Not to Zach, if you could grab this, I want you to read. I just want to show that things haven't really changed. So this is a book. It's called Slavery, and it goes over slavery in different areas, different times, West Indies, America, China, everywhere. It goes over the slavery, and you have different authors and firsthand accounts. So if you could read just right here, that's right there, that's highlighted. Just call it out, and then I want you to read that. So before you read that, let me just say that the point I'm making is that slavery is the root of a lot of the problems that we have. Oppression is the root of a lot of things that the problems that we have in our community. That is the main issue here. You know what I mean? And I'm just showing here that um black men in particular are not in the home like that, right? But I'm gonna show you in slavery they wasn't in the home either, and there were black single mothers on the plantation, and that's just to show that not generationally through the generations we have kept the same psychological patterns in the way we have our families, meaning a woman has children with different kind of men, and this happened on the plantation because you will have a family, they'll snatch you and sell you, you know what I mean? And just like the scriptures say, if you leave a woman, you make her a what? Anybody? If you leave a woman, she's good. Go ahead. She's going to be with another man. But in this situation, it was forced. It's like you got to do what you got to do in slavery. But now we do what we want, and we still have the same pattern as back then. So if you could, Natazak, go ahead and read that for me.
Oh, God. From the book Slavery, page 289. Marriage and parenthood brought less change in the lives of most men.
So they were getting married on the plantation, but as for a man, it didn't really change anything because go ahead. I didn't want to go get ahead.
Oh, God. Many continue to live with their other men.
Read that again. You got to read that.
Oh, God.
Slow it down.
Many continue to live with other men.
So the men lived in quarters with other men, right? They didn't really, on the most part, you wasn't able to be with your family, right? You had a family, but you would have to like go visit them like on the weekends, get a pass, and go to the another plantation to go visit your wife and kids. Go ahead.
Able to visit his family only at night or on holidays.
So you would probably have to creep off and sneak off to go visit your family at night, right? Or on the holidays. Go ahead.
The non-resident husband could play only a small role in child rearing.
So the non-resident husband, and if somebody could give me the number, there's a survey that came out by the CDC in 2015 that black men are the best fathers, whether they're in the home or not. If somebody can pull that CDC study in 2015, that would be glorious. Go ahead.
If husband and wife live together, however, they establish a household.
So what it's saying is that men, the non-resident man, meaning the man that couldn't stay with his family, he didn't have any part in raising his kids. He had to stay over here, and he couldn't be there like dad is in the house. Don't do that. Don't do this. You know what I'm saying? Now, if they were able to be together, they established a household. Is that what it said? So in a small case, you was able to be together with your family on a plantation, and you have a household. You got man, woman, and child, like like the scriptures say, right? So I'm just showing that I'm showing you that this type of family, the way the family structure was, is still today. If somebody finds that, get that, because that's going to bring home my point that black men are great fathers, even though they're not in the home, just like on the plantation. And if somebody can get me, bind a strong man, bind a strong man. That's the scripture I want.
You want the scripture, sir?
Yeah, a bind. You can just hold it. but I want that study. I can find it if somebody needs me to find it. You got it?
The New York Times, black guys are doing best of all.
Go ahead. Go ahead and read that.
This is an article out of the New York Times, Black Dads Are Doing Best of All by Charles M. Blow. One of the most present statistical bludgeons of people who want to blame black people for any injustice or inequity they encounter is this. According to the data from Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in 2013, nearly 72% of birth to non-Hispanic black boys, the mothers were unmarried. It also seems to me that embedded in
Maybe you can get, if you can scan it and get, I want it's an article. It might be under Complex Magazine. There's an article where it basically gets to the point. I don't want it, the ones that explain the statistics and everything. If you could, let me check and see. Bear with us if you're online.
So you said complex?
Say that again.
Complex?
Complex. Con. Go ahead. Go ahead.
This is complex. The CDC has debunked the absent black father myth. When the public reacts to the deaths of young black men in Baltimore and Ferguson and Sanford, we often hear about a crisis among black fathers, namely that too many are absent from their children's lives.
So what it's saying is that we hear about we've heard this our whole life that black men abandon their children, right? They're not in the lives of their children. Go ahead,
But the crisis may not be real at all. A study conducted by the Center for Disease Control found that black fathers are just as present and sometimes more so in the lives of their children than dads of other races.
Wow. So it's saying that black fathers are as present or more than other races, right? This is a study that you won't hear about, right? Because everybody wants to go with that thing that black men abandon their children and is not in the lives, and they need to marry those women. They need to marry those women, and maybe the black community will be a lot better. Go ahead, sis.
In the book, The Art of War, the first step is to divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer, right? To destroy, right? And in the scriptures, the main thing is to take that man out that house. That's how you can really destroy a nation of people. You can really take hold of a nation of people and control a nation of people if the men are not there. If the men are don't have power, right? And black men have not, black and Hispanic men have not had the power that the Lord invested them with under the so-called white man, right? They have not had the power. And if you could, oh, you got that now. Give me that. Give me that.
This is the book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 27.
Listen to this.
And it says, no man can enter into a strong man's house.
No man can enter into a strong man's house. You can't go into anybody's house when there is a father in the house, when there is a man protecting that house. You can't just, do what you want to do, because there's going to be a man that's going to come out and check you. Hey, what you doing here? What you looking for? Man, you better get on. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead,
Sir. And spoil his goods.
And spoil his goods. Now, figurative that now I was giving you a literal example, but like think about it in a national level. Think about it in a way of as a people, how black men have never, what we read in that book of slavery, they've never been in charge of their household until the Lord raised up the ISUPK. But black men have never been in charge wholeheartedly and looked at as the person who should be in charge of their household until we learn these law, statute, and commandments, and we learn that there's supposed to be a certain order with the Most High. Like a woman will, like in Christianity, they have a woman running her household. There's a man there, but he's effeminate, right? It's a woman ruling that household, because if the man do anything that she don't like, that damn house gonna fall. It's gonna be some hell in that house, and that's in Christianity. You have to cater or put a woman on a pedestal. You know what I'm saying? And we find out in the scriptures that's not how it go. A man is first, and he should be over a woman, right? But we ain't never had that in the black community, right? You and I ain't gonna say absolutely, because we read in there that the non-resident men that were, meaning the men that didn't live in the household, they couldn't participate in raising their kids. But if and perhaps they were there, they established a household. So you get what I'm saying? So even with our people today, the majority, you go right down one of these streets and look down the household. Out of 10 houses, is 8 of them ain't no damn man in there. But there might be 2 where there's a man there that established that household, right? And that's just the reality of it. Read again. Read it from the top.
Come, sir. The book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 20, verse 27. No man can enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods.
Right.
Except he will first bind the strong man.
Right.
And then he will spoil his house.
Right. So he binded the strong man. How was you bound? You was bound after. I'm talking now. We're gonna talk about after slavery. You was bound by not being able to have the resources to do the basic things that a man should be able to do. You go to third world countries and they're able to do the basic things that black man wasn't able to do. And so you bind a man, you put his hands behind him where he's not able to do certain things. Then you inject into his woman certain things of how it should be. Now our women are looking at the so-called white man and their philosophy and their way, like, nigga, why you ain't making this much money? Why you ain't bringing home the bacon? You understand? And that's because of what Oscar Ward was bringing out earlier, Martin Luther King, integration. We thought the grass was greener on that side. We thought that their food in their restaurants was better than the food that we cooked at home. And we wanted to join them, but that crippled us. That made it to where from the time of plantation, our women have been leaning on the slave master and not on the head of their household, who is the so-called black man. You've been looking to the so-called white man for your substance and in everything to survive, and you just looking at the black man as somebody that's just gonna put babies in you, and that's all the respect he deserves is when you land on your goddamn back. You know what I mean? I'm trying to show y'all something. This is deep. This is deep. You know what I mean? Somebody had their hand raised. Go ahead, Shadow Right.
There's a movie called The Great Debaters. I watched it a couple of days ago. And, Denzel Washington, that famous actor, had a team of debaters. And he told them, he said, it was like an HBU college,
Yeah. Historical black college, yeah.
So he told them, he said, well, what happens is, he said there was a famous guy out of Virginia named Willie Lynch.
Mm-hmm.
He said he would take a black slave. He said particularly the male. He find the biggest,
The strongest. Right.
one. He said he'd take him and strip him naked, and then he pulled all the kids out and the women out and made them look at this.
Mm-hmm.
And he said they beat him down. He said then they would take him and tie him to 2 horses.
2 horses, yeah.
And you heard the story before.
Yeah.
They pull them apart, and then that's what took them in line and kept them in line, because
Right.
There were other slave owners who couldn't, control their slaves. So they
Right.
had to have Willie Lynch step in and teach all of the slave masters how to keep their slaves in line.
To make an example.
Yeah.
And so now we just move on from slavery. We move on to a time period of the Great Depression, and moving on up through the 20s, the 30s, unto the 40s, you got welfare. You can't be on welfare and have a man in the house. You can't get these benefits from the government and have a man there. There's a movie called Claudine that I learned from General Hyman, where it's a scene in there where the sister is damn, if we could probably hook up the laptop. The sister is she has her dude in the house. The social worker is coming to the house. They just pop up. And so she's like scrambling to throw stuff, hide stuff, put everything, hide her man, all that. The social worker comes in there and is like, so I see you did this, you bought this, I see you bought some sodas. How much is that? And like calculating everything, making sure she's not getting anything outside of what they give her, right? And trying to make sure she don't have a man, she's not getting no gifts, none of that. You know what I'm saying? Like literally controlling her. You know what I mean? And literally, and so I brought that up. So 1 second, I brought that up because I'm just showing you the trajectory from slavery to the welfare system. Then you throw in women's liberation movement. Good night. Pour in a little bit of crack cocaine. Pour a little bit of heroin. Now we in the the TikTok area, the TikTok era and the social media area and all that. And you look at our people and you wonder why they're destroyed, and you wonder why the household is broken. Like it's not a coincidence, you know what I'm saying? Look at the root of the problem. Look how it all started, and then you'll understand. Okay, now I can understand why it's like this. But that study that the brother read, that study said that black men was great fathers. Even if you read stories in slavery, black men were great fathers, even though they couldn't be there. You know what I mean? They couldn't be there, but they were still great fathers, right? But the propaganda of the so-called white man, who is the devil, he has beguiled our woman like Satan in the Garden of Eden to think and believe and pass it on from grandma to daughter to auntie. These niggas ain't shit. These niggas ain't nothing. These niggas, you ain't nothing. You need to take care of your kids. Well, get behind me like Eve. Get behind me and be a helpmeet like the Lord created you to be, and we'll probably see a change. That change that I'm talking about is definitely here. It's the spirit of the Lord, and it's here in the ISBK. Malakma, you had a question, or you wanted to say something? Yeah.
One of the reasons why they're so against us being in the school, because in the ISPK we actually stand up to the oppressor. We actually stand up to
right.
the white man, and call him out for all the crimes that
right.
They're speaking and telling us that we're in the wrong place out of fear.
Out of out of man, get that brother a hand, man. They say, people say that out of fear. You know what I mean? It's plenty of times when I'm at the slave. I ain't been at the slave in like, I'm gonna keep it real. I ain't been at the slave for a couple of weeks. Brothers that do know that, you know what I'm saying, I had a little health issue, but when I'm at the slave and I come across people, you can't talk to everybody the same way, but you got to understand, you got to feel the spirit out of people, because, you know, you say something about what we talk about and they'll be like, oh nah, you in the hate group, and you know what I mean? So you got to feel brother's spirit out before you even give them the truth. Don't go to your slavery trying to, you know, tell people the truth. I rock my shield. I got shield on my. Hey, what that mean? Oh, it's the shield of David. Hey, you Jewish or not? Like, I don't even pay no people no attention no more, because I had a situation where I told a sister, and she was Christian, and she was really Christian, and she started getting loud and boisterous in front of the managers, and I'm like, hey, calm down, like just calm down before you get, you know, you're doing too much now. So you have to. When I was young in the truth, I learned that lesson. You gotta, you know, you don't cast your pearls among swine, man. You know what I'm saying? But what you will see, whether I work with nothing but Hispanic brothers. I think I got one brother I work with, but when everybody agrees the white man is the devil. But you know how the voice change and the posture change, and they want to say it, but they your voice get real low, like, yeah, these white people, like our people are really afraid of the so-called white man to say the truth. But in the school in the ISUPK, it puts a spirit on you that you don't, you're not afraid to say what the truth is. Just the truth will set you free. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when you say it, you say the white man is the devil. That is like the greatest feeling I've ever felt in my life when I first heard it. Like the white man is the devil. Like all the problems that I had, all the problems I see with my people, I understand now. I get it now. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like a release to feel that and understand like he is the devil. And I don't gotta feel no type of way for saying that because am I lying? Am I saying something that is false? No. Everybody knows it's facts, but everybody fears him and says, "Oh, I don't want to lose the opportunity. I don't want to lose my job. I don't want certain people to hear it because I don't want to, get my page taken down. I don't. Everybody fears him, but we don't in the ISUPK. We only fear one, and that's the Most High. Go ahead, Itazam.
Slag is certified. May I just want to say, when you increasing off some logma, bringing out so heavy, like, a lot of brothers, like, just going off of this scripture alone, like, first you got to find a strong man, like, a lot of times it's not even just physically, it's mentally. Like, you see a lot of brothers who are just terrified to, like, say what's really on their minds. Like, I remember it was on, it was a quick video on Facebook. I'm pretty sure other brothers seen it. And it was Big Sean. And he was like talking about some stuff and like he was explaining how I found out that we are the Israelites. But
Right.
Like, as soon as right before he says Israelites, like you see his whole demeanor change. Like he starts to get real meek.
Yeah.
Very uncomfortable for him to say.
Yeah.
He didn't want to admit it. So like even right there, of course not saying the brother's in the truth, but at least for the most part, he knows that he is an Israelite.
Right.
But he's so afraid of what society will say or do to him,
Right.
Especially given his position, because he's a celebrity.
He's a celebrity entertainer, yeah.
Concert, so he doesn't want to admit to the truth, or they're going to do you like Nick Cannon.
Right. That exactly. And the truth is everywhere, man. The truth is like celebrities know the truth. Don't think these people don't know the truth. They own social media looking at our videos. Don't think they not. But they fear losing everything that they have, whereas we don't give a damn. You know what I'm saying? We don't fear that. You know what I mean? We don't have that over our head. We're not millionaires, and we don't got money like that to fear. Like, oh damn, they're gonna cut me off like Nick Cannon. You know what I'm saying? Or they're gonna do something and take away my endorsements or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and then I try not to get excited. I ain't gonna say I don't try not to. I don't get excited when I see some celebrities say that we're Israelites. The kingdom of heaven is not going to come by some rich man, some Israelite, some entertainer. And I think a lot of fake Israelites think that because they get hella excited over that. They reposted and posted like, "Oh, Nick Cannon said this," or such and such said this. We the children of Israel. I don't give a damn, man. I give a damn about the brothers in here, man. I give a damn about the brothers that's doing the work. You know what I'm saying? That's how the truth is going to cover the world, just like how the truth came from brothers out of the hood, one West New York, Harlem, New York. It's going to remain that way, man. The Lord is only working with the meek of the earth, the poor of the earth. Not saying that a brother that got money can't do nothing for the school or help the truth, but this truth ain't going to spread but from brothers from the favelas, brothers from the barrios, brothers from the ghetto, brothers from the reservation. That's how this truth is going to spread. The Lord says, I take the foolish things of this earth to confound the wise. Now, you think that somebody with a Bentley and a nice suit is going to be the one that ushers in the kingdom of Christ? You fool. You don't know you don't know anything. The Lord takes the things that you thought that he wouldn't use. Somebody out of prison, somebody from the ghetto, somebody that you look at as like, that's not a man of God. And that will be a man of God. That will be the very thing that the Lord uses. Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian men that you throw it away and that you say, they're not men of God. Those are the exact type of men that the Lord is using. regular, everyday men that are ordinary, that the Lord turns extraordinary. Go ahead, Lahab. You was gonna say something?
I would say like some celebrities that even though they're out there saying like, oh, we Israelites or the Jews or black or whatnot, they still having sex with white women. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
They still smoking weed, right?
Strip clubs and
Right.
what good is that?
What good is it? Yeah.
Like what makes us so much better than them is that not only do we say it, but we actually live the life.
We live the life, right? And then they look at us like, damn, can I do that? Can I take that ridicule? Can I be called crazy? Can I be made fun of for wearing what I'm wearing? You know what I'm saying? Because I done heard all the stories. You this, you a biker gang, you a Power Ranger. Yeah. I damn sure got power. And I will have a lot of power when a black man named Jesus Christ returns. I'll have a lot of power. I will have all the power.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'll be stepping over you while you reaching for some power. So get with it or get lost. You know what I'm saying? Like Regard used to say, step your goddamn game up. World War III is around the corner. It's right around the corner, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Black and Hispanic people, you worry and you praying for the troops that's going out there to fight Russia over Ukraine. You should be praying for your people.
Right.
You should be praying for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians because we've been at war for 500 years, 400 years. We've been at war with the beast, the so-called white man. You understand? Salakia, Natazak, I want you to read something before we go. What time check? This book is called Lay My Burden Down, right? Now, when the slaves got released from slavery, United States government sent out interviewers and writers to go and interview these slaves that were previously enslaved. And so I came across this story. If you could, right here, that's highlighted, that whole box I want you to read. Now, this is a sister that talked about being called superstitious because of her belief in the Bible and in the scriptures. Hold that 1 second. You got something, Ashkur? The water. If you could read the title, it's called Lay. Go ahead and read. Lay My Burden Down. That's the title.
Come. From the book, Lay My Burden Down, a folk history of slavery. Page 46. How I learnt such. Well, I's done learn. I done learn.
Salakia, if I may, the thing about it is, when they recorded it in how the slaves actually pronounce and talk and say words. So just keep that in mind as you're reading it, so you can improvise.
How I learnt such. Well, I's done learn it. It come to me. When the Lord gives such power to a person, it just comes to him. It am 40 years ago now when I's working of the signs. So like it. When I's first fully realized that I has the power. However, I's always interested in the working of the signs.
So she's talking about working of signs and having power from the Lord, right? Go ahead.
When I's a little pickaninny, my mammy and other folks used to talk about the signs. I hears them talk about what happens to folk cause a spell was put on them. The old folks in them days knows more about the signs that the Lord uses to reveal his laws.
To reveal his what?
To reveal his laws.
This is a slave talking about the Lord revealing his laws. This not talking about the gospel. It's not talking about white Jesus. This is not talking about none of that. This slave is strictly talking about the laws, right? Go ahead, Aunt.
Okay. To reveal his laws, then the folks of today. It am also true of the colored folks in Africa. They native land. Some of the folks laughs at their beliefs and says it am superstitious.
So she said they laugh at their beliefs and say it's superstitious. And what she believes about the laws is what they believe in Africa. Now, I don't want people to get the misconception that's listening. We are not African, but the so-called Negro did come by way through West Africa, and there were kingdoms in West Africa, Hebrew kingdoms in West Africa, and the Africans are not our brothers according to the Bible. The Africans are our enemies, no different than the so-called white man. And I just want to sidebar real quick. I had did a poem on my y'all know I got Black Authentic Truth. I did a poem where I did the video, and I basically said, "Who sold you?" You know, and I put a question mark, and I had some lady come and say, well, I don't know what you learning. Are you learning from the white man? But the Africans, they didn't sell us or whatever. And what a lot of people don't realize as Black people is that Black people and everybody don't realize this is that you don't sell your brother. You don't sell your brother to a pale man that's come to the continent, right? And if you did some research, you'll realize that the Africans would go into the interior of West Africa and kidnap certain groups, certain tribes, and bring them back, right? There's a book by Alada Equino. This is a first-hand account. Alada Equino lived in West Africa. He was kidnapped with his sister. He ended up in West Virginia. He became educated and he wrote about his life. And he says that when he can remember when he was a child, their whole life was similar to the life of the Israelites. They had feast days, purifications. When a woman was on her flower, she had to go to a house by herself and be separated for a certain amount of days. Everything he could remember was like the Israelites. So the Israelites were in West Africa. And this is the first-hand account. And so when she says Africa, don't get it misconstrued, anybody that may be listening. Go ahead, Ott.
But it am knowing how the Lord reveals his laws.
The Lord reveals it. That's it, right? How the Lord reveals his laws, meaning how he reveals it through signs, is what she was trying to say. She also was saying that people that look at their beliefs as superstitious, right? But what I wanted to bring out is that you got a slave here talking about the laws of the Bible. We're here tonight in this room because of the laws of the Bible. The ISUPK stands on the laws of the Bible, was established on the laws of God, right? And Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians were brothers in here. She didn't even mention Christ. You get that? This is a slave. She didn't even mention Christ. She didn't mention the gospel. She didn't mention, Jesus. Because a lot of people like to say that the slaves were enslaved by using the Bible. No, the slaves were enslaved by the so-called white men sitting down and negotiating deals with African tribal leaders and kings. That's it. They sat down and they had deals. Later, when they got to America, later on, they was indoctrinated with Christianity, white Jesus and all. But when they first got here, this is how they spoke. If you read the slave, the Negro spirituals, anybody even know what Negro spirituals is? Negro spirituals are early on songs that slaves would sing about their oppressor. Now, when you look at the lyrics of these songs, it's not talking about Africa. It's talking about the oppressor, Babylon, Israel, King David. It's talking about, we talking about Old Testament concepts. We're not talking about white Jesus in the gospel and sweet Jesus and wade in the water. We're not talking about that. We're talking about things that are Old Testament concepts. Christianity is not built off the Old Testament. It's built off of the writings of Paul. God loves everybody, Jew or Greek. That's what Christianity is actually built on. It's not even built off of Christ. It's built off of the writings of Paul, because people don't understand the writings of Paul, that he was going to the uncircumcised Israelites. They think he was going to everybody, right? I brought that out just to show that this is what we should be doing. Keeping the law, statute, and commandments. Russia is at war with Ukraine, and World War III is on the brink. And what Black Hispanics, I'm reiterating what General Yohana said earlier. What we should be doing is focusing on keeping those laws and being moral, being moral people. You know what I'm saying? That's should be our focus, right? That's what our ancestors were doing, was trying to be moral people and stay focused on those laws, statutes, and commandments. You know, a lot of people say, I don't do the Bible. I can't do religion. And you know why they say that? Because they don't want to have morals.
Right.
There's no accountability when you're doing what you want to do.
Right.
You got to be accountable when you're keeping the law, statute, and commandments. You can't be a thief. You can't be a liar. You got to be accountable. You got to be held accountable for being an effing liar. You want to be an effing liar and a scammer and a thief? You got to be accountable if you're going to keep these laws. But if you're not, you can do what you want to do because you don't got to be accountable. You can say, oh, I don't do the Bible. I don't do this. Yeah, because you don't want to be accountable. You don't want to be held to no standard. Morals. With that, I pass the class to Precinct Officer Oscar Warren.
Israel Mijam, he's standing in Hebrew. We're going to SAR, basic teacher, give one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Amijam Shabbat, Amijam, Barak.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatah. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatah.
We're going to SAR, face the Akwagna. Akwagna, you can please stand, face the brothers. We're going to give one courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, Amijam Shabbat, Amijam, Barak.
Yahweh Shemar Hashem Yahushua.
Yadi Matah, dismissed.